Okay, welcome everybody. It's 5 o'clock already. I see that participants are slowly trickling in, so I'll just wait for 1 more minute to start with this webinar. Wer von euch beiden fängt eigentlich an? Okay, gut. Okay, hi everybody. I would like to welcome you to the EANS Diversity Commission webinar on diversity in neurosurgery, breaking barriers in a changing world. I'm the chair of the committee since last year, and this is our first webinar, so I'm really proud that I was able to motivate these two speakers from Germany. One is Professor Narayan Karic. She's currently the head of department of the University Hospital of Schleswig-Holstein. I don't know the German, the English word for that, sorry. The other speaker is Thomas Kapapa. He's the vice chair of the University Hospital of Ulm. And as you can see, we are all three POCs living in Germany, partly also, I was even born in Germany. And so this will be hopefully really good talks and nice discussions with you. So we would love to have questions from you. So please place your questions not in the chat, but in the Q&A box. You can see in the down in the lower part of the screen. So please ask all the questions you want to ask. And yes, we'll start with Noreen with your talk on diversity.
Thank you very much, Yumi. Hello, everybody, also from my side. Good afternoon. Well, I would like to talk about diversity and especially some few words at the end about me and what I experienced in my career. So I have no conflicts of interest. Well, I would like to start with a short story. There is a father and son going in the morning to the father is bringing his son to the school, and they have a car accident, and the father died, and the son is brought to the hospital, and the surgeon needs an emergency operation. The surgeon sees the son and says, "I cannot operate this child." And why? What do you think? Please scan the QR code with your mobile phone. And probably you know this story, probably not, but I'm curious what you guys think about it and what is the answer. So scan the code, and then at the end we will see what your guesses are. So just wait 5 more seconds for you to scan the code. Okay. Well, what does diversity in neurosurgery or in leadership mean? So it has several things which are meant with diversity. We have gender, we have ethnicity, religion, the partnership situation, we have the background, the appearance, and so many other factors. So if we see it in general, we need a couple of common things which are necessary to become a neurosurgical leader. So we have a high number of publications with a high age index. We have memberships in different specific societies like the EANS, or we have a lot of awards and grant money, and taking them together should be actually that what is necessary to become a a leader or a chief head of a department. So let's start with the demographics. What do we know about what is going on in Germany? And of course, I focused a little bit on the point of women in neurosurgery. In Germany, we have 63% of women in medical schools. We have, and now it's decreasing, we have 35% of female in as a neurosurgeon. So that's actually not that less, but we have 8%, and these are 3 of 37 neurosurgical chairs at the university hospitals. It's 8% held by women. And when we generalize it about all neurosurgical departments, despite of university departments, we have less than 8. It's about 6%. And when we consider it in across Europe, it's less. So it's only 12% of female neurosurgeons and only 4% department share. So that's a really low numbers representation of women in neurosurgery. And of course, gender is not the only point which is meant with diversity. So we have minorities, immigrants, their representation. And when we consider this, for example, here in Helsinki, we have 17% of immigrants as neurosurgeons. We have about 27% in UK, and in Germany, it's about 12%. In the United States, it's not better. So we have 12% of board-certified neurosurgeons as females, and only 7.5% in command positions. So that's something which is improving. We will see it. But how can we do this? So prioritization is one of the main things. So diversity, equity, and inclusion, well, the DEI criteria or strategies are improving in all business kinds. So that's really nice to see that many companies and have now are prioritizing DEI strategies, and also making the company-wide diversity strategy as a priority. So also in neurosurgery, we have a lot of work which is going behind the scenes. So we had an issue on diversity, equity, and inclusion in neurosurgical focus 2 years ago. We have our diversity committee. Now we are holding the first webinar. We have it from the American Association of Neurological Surgeons, and we have this in Germany, women in neurosurgery. So a lot of things are going on, and that's the point which is necessary. It's important because leadership sets the tone. Work processes and company cultures are traditionally guided. What I mean with it is that diverse leadership, of course, determines equity and inclusion, and these points are inseparable. And as we have a traditional culture still in hospitals, it's a top-down approach. Of course, a diverse leader can of course, structure his department as a diverse department, and that is what is now necessary to my mind. So it is, if you have diverse leaders, we bring different perspectives. We have diversity in our hospital. All patients which we treat are from different countries, are from different genders, are from different religions. And this is, of course, we are confronted with the situations. So we have to bring different perspectives and experiences with us. It's also a thing that, of course, with different kind of talents and different heritages. We have, of course, different steps of performance, and taking them together, you also make a high reputation in your department with clients, and of course, in our situation, with patients. So all employees wants to feel included. So it's not about equality, but of course equity. And this is that your employees, your colleagues need the situation that you as a leader or you as a colleague provide, and that we all have the same chances. So employee experience is really crucial. We cannot separate our personal life from work-life balance, because if you're not happy in the 8 to 10 hours or more than that at the day, you don't have a personal life which makes you happy. And of course, inclusion needs a stronger commitment and needs leaders who pushes on that and of course foster it. So the bottom line is that we have to address bias in hiring and promotion. That is a major point. We have to provide support for new leaders, that we develop in our department new leaders with this inclusive culture, and foster this situation because I think it's a moral imperative of it's our kind of our duty now. It pays off. And when you see the numbers or in the last years, it's a McKinsey report from different companies, and in the upper row, you see the women representation in companies, and it grows from 2015 to 2023, from 15 to 39%. And those companies which grew with their female representation also grew in their numbers. It's the ethnic diversity is also growing very, very very low, but it doesn't make such a difference in the numbers. It's kind of same slide. So those companies which are led by female staff executives are in the top quartiles. So I would like to say a few words to my story, because I think it's also something very personal. So I studied medicine in Göttingen, and I had 5 years of work in Göttingen, and then I moved to Mainz and was there for 13 years. And last year I moved to Lübeck and became the head of the department here. So what happened during that time? What did I experience? Well, I think it's kind of same treatment between women and men during my residency. I didn't feel any differences, but what I felt was that more patients they have these bias, not because they are somehow evil or racist, because it's just in there. They always, when I made a visit with patients, they always noticed me as a nurse and not as a doctor. So that's something probably many female surgeons or female doctors experience. And then what I felt as a very negative example was when I became pregnant for the first time. From that moment, I told I'm pregnant, I was not treated as the same person again. And that was really a shocking moment for me. Well, at my first pregnancy, it was like, okay, I cannot get pregnant or become get another child, because I will be I won't be able to make a career. And I'm really glad that this situation changed over time, and that other leaders which I had didn't make the same treatment with me. So that is something I felt as a woman was something, how to say, disappointing, and not recognizing what I'm doing, but only that I'm a woman and I'm pregnant now and not anymore able to work as a neurosurgeon. Well, of course, you see with me as an example that it works very well because I have 3 children, and it became much better over the last years. So it's somewhere we have to start, and I think participation starts somewhere, and I am really happy that we had in mind a mentoring program, which first I was also a mentee and had a good mentor who did this mentorship really good, and I was able to give it back and do also work as a mentor and have my own mentees there. And then with some other colleagues from Germany, we developed this positive list for women who are pregnant and want to go to the OR for our German Society of Neurosurgery. And I was happy to be invited from the neuroradiologist also as a kind of ambassador for diversity. And this is something I think we have to spread the idea of diversity, and we have to show that it works out. And I was happy to have this talk last year in Sofia. Yumi invited me to talk about it, and this is all about it, which we can do at the outside, and of course taking together everything in our department by ourselves to make a sustainable diverse leadership for the next generation. So taking together diversity, equity, and inclusion is, of course, and I'm happy to say that it's increasingly recognized in neurosurgery, and we need this for a corporate world in business, and of course in our branch. And to my mind, DEI is a moral imperative that translates in better healthcare provision for medical staff satisfaction. To see what you have voted, I think nobody has voted because these answers are from me because I tested it before. Did somebody vote? Okay.
I think it was difficult. I didn't understand what we were supposed to write in there, so I didn't answer it.
Okay. Do
problem.
you? I mean, what is the bias? So the question was, the father died and the son is brought to the hospital, and the surgeon sees this child and says, I cannot operate on this child because it's my son. How is this possible? So I would like to end with this. So the solution is that the surgeon is female, it's mother, it's the son's mother. And about more than 50% of people who are asked or questioned by this story say they don't know what to answer. So I found it interesting because there is no female surgeon meant to be a female surgeon. Thank you very much.
Okay, Noreen, I think okay, yes. Great, thank you. It was a great talk, Noreen. Thank you very much. A lot of very interesting information in that. So far, I don't see any questions. So I think I would suggest we move on with the next talk, and then we have a discussion afterwards. So Thomas, can you continue with your talk?
Yes, I can continue. Thank you, Noreen, for your talk. And Noreen, I was reminded on a question like you did. How do you call a black female who is flying a plane? People think about how should I call her? She's a pilot. Yeah? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Yumi, thank you very much for the invitation today, and I'm very happy that I can talk about the topic diversity. And I start my screen sharing right now. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I'm following now. Noreen. Noreen gave you a very good overview about the topic diversity inclusion, and I want to go deeper inside and bring you some specific examples for diversity and inclusion in surgery or in medicine, and because I think it's very important. It's accompanied by the change of societies. I'm very happy that I've been funded from many sources. However, my conflict of interests are lying inside my family. Um, in my opinion, diversity is often recognized as a single event. But if you take a closer look to the background, you can see that there are a lot of single events and diversity appears different. And if you go very close to diversity, you see that diversity is a lot of more than single events. It's a group of something which is building diversity. And I want to aim your view, I want to aim your attention to diversity in medicine in total with a few examples. There's Daniel Grossman. Daniel Grossman is a head of an emergency department in the US. He's doing this job in a wheelchair after a bicycle accident, and he's very successful in doing his job. As well, there's Corinna Wagner. I did my medicine studies with her. She's deaf, but she's doing her job as a cardiologist, and with technology and with technical devices, she's able to hear all the heartbeats she has to hear. And there's Tim Cordes. He's a psychiatrist. He's blind and a psychiatrist, and he's going his ways out through the hospital guided by a dog. This is possible. What I'm trying to say is there are a lot of possibilities if you break barriers, as it's in our title, yeah, of our meeting today. So every problem has at least one solution. And Noreen gave you a lot of information, but as doctors and we're often, and scientists, we're often tending to get our information from the PubMed. And if you, for example, here, if you want to get more information about a surgeon in a wheelchair, you will fail with this method. You will fail with the PubMed. You have to go to other sources, and there you can find information. For example, about Todd Rommel. Ted Rommel is an older surgeon who is doing his surgeries as an orthopedic surgeon in a wheelchair. And here you can see that the diversity is not only a restriction of mobility, it's also inclusion of older surgeon as well. So often Ted Rommel was said, "You're an old surgeon, just retire." And he said, "No, I'm refusing. I'm doing my surgery even when I'm in a wheelchair and an old man." And for surgery, there are a lot of examples how to do surgery, or that you are able to do surgery even in a wheelchair. There's Thomas Gundmann. Thomas Gundmann is an ENT doctor. He's a head of a department. He has a parachuting accident, and after that, he was using a wheelchair. In the same way, there's Frank Görche. He's a neurosurgeon doing his surgeries in Eastern Germany, and there's Marco Arch, orthopedic surgeon. As you can see here, all these three are good examples that they are not single events, that that there's a possibility to do surgery in a wheelchair. And I think this is something that changed. The acceptance of maybe a wheelchair surgeon or wheelchair doctors is changing in a society. And with this, there's the change of internal and external projection. For example, The external projection was often portrayed by that doctors are often pinnacles of health, superhumans, and they are fixers. They don't need support or care by themselves. And the internal projection often was that we saw ourselves as able bodies. We are able to do so many things, and we are not disabled, for example. But this is changing, and Rain already mentioned the changing culture in societies, not only in medicine. And I'm convinced that if a culture should change, it's changing better if you use role models. And I'm very helpful. Here are some of role models in medicine and in surgery. So I think role models are very important to develop ourselves or to develop the society forward. One of these role models for me was Sir Roger Bannister. I'm sure that not all of you know Sir Roger Bannister. He was a neurologist, and now this picture is showing him in a wheelchair. And some of you might think that he's a role model because he's a neurologist in a wheelchair for me. But Roger Bannister was not always in a wheelchair. Roger Bannister is very important and very famous because he broke barriers in the mind of many people, and I think he also break the barrier in your mind, because before 1954, mankind believed that it was impossible for a human to run a mile under 4 minutes. Bannister couldn't accept this fact and run the mile in less than 4 minutes at the 6th May of 1955. And after that, a lot of people run the mile, 1.6 kilometers, in less than 4 minutes. Today, men run, female run, and children run the mile in less than 4 minutes. Now, if you know that something is possible, you're also able to do this. And many things considered impossible until someone did it. And this is the fact why Roger Bannister is, for me, one of the role model. Impossible is just a temporary fact. I was in a wheelchair since my childhood, and I grew up in northern Germany, and in the situation that I was the only black young child in my class, and plus I was in a wheelchair. However, I was accepted, and I think this is something diversity and I want to emphasize inclusion needs. And here you can see, if you don't grow up in Germany, you see this certificate. This certificate is, if you grew up in Germany, very, very important, because it evidences that you are able to do sports. And my lecturer, my teacher, gave me this certificate to demonstrate me for my teacher, I'm the same pupil as anyone else, so I can do all my sports like anyone else. So I was accepted, and this strengthened my opinion about diversity, or I had the opinion of being able to do something. After my school, I had to decide which way I had to go, to the left or to the right, like everyone else. And I talked about a lot of people, which profession I should find for me. And I talked about to being a doctor, but I was recommended to do an administration job. Maybe in a public office, something like this, because anybody said that's easier for you. It's easier for you in your situation. You have to think about your situation. And I was also recommended to go into the disabled home, because through the same reasons, because everyone said there's someone who is caring for you, supporting you, that's easier for you. I decided not to use the easy way. I decided to go forward and to do my studies in a German university. I was convinced that it is useful to separate difficult from something negative. Sorry. So before I could start my medicine studies, I had to get advice from the medical board, from Federal Medical Board in Germany, and because the requirements that days was for studying medicine was the best mental and physical health. In my opinion, I was in best mental and physical health. This day was the same like the days before. and the days like they will follow. So for me, nothing has changed, but I have to discuss this with the medical board, and after some conversation, they accepted me in studying medicine. Then it was very important for me to find a city and infrastructures, institution with infrastructures which fit my situation in a wheelchair. I found that. I had to accept that, for example, Oxford would not be the best choice. So I studied in Hanover, and my first challenge there was the anatomy lectures, the anatomy preparations. If you remember, you do your preparations in a standing position on the table. And the department or the institute where I started my anatomy lectures in Hanover, they were not prepared for for someone in a wheelchair. So I was very, very lucky that I met Professor Pabst, the former director of the institution, and together we found a way how I could finish my anatomy in a wheelchair in his department. And the next challenge for me was to find people and authorities to whom I can find a deeper connection, who are ready to promote and challenge me and bring me forward like this. And yeah, one example from those who I could connect better. And if you remember what Noreen said, I'm showing here only male pictures, yeah, but and I'm very happy that things have changed. However, these persons gave me power, gave me forwarding for my career. So this is why I'm now able to do all my surgeries in a wheelchair, in a special wheelchair, even in a standing upright position. But what's also very important, and what you always have to think about, is that diversity or inclusion happens on both sides, which is what I want to transport in with these pictures. Because yes, it's me doing the surgeries in the wheelchair, but it's also some supportants from other people who are doing the inclusion. So diversity and inclusion needs both sides working together. And as we already heard today, the society is very important in this process. The change of how we see things has to go forward. Once again, this is the external and internal projection of being a medical doctor. Yeah, and I'm very happy that things change. So not only myself or people in a wheelchair are accepted as doctors, also the society is now accepting the doctor in a wheelchair. As Noreen said, when she was suited as a medical professional, she was asked, "Are you a nurse?" So even when I have my professional suits on, I was asked, "If are you a patient? Are you or are you working here?" So that's maybe it's the same for like me. If I want to portray the change of society, I think it could do this in TV series. In TV series in Germany, you'll see here a picture of a very famous TV series in Germany, the Schwarzwald Clinic. It's a Black Forest hospital. It's a very romantic view on how medicine is done in Germany, maybe in the late 80s and 90s. And things changed. Maybe you can go with me in some at some point. There was emergency room, very strong series, and there was scrubs. You're allowed to laugh about what is done in medicine, and Grey's Anatomy marked for me the position where the people recognize that even some are working in the medicine have a private life. And Dr. Klein is one of a famous series in Germany, which shows that a doctor may have some limitations, for example, in height. So diversity and inclusion is a process, and I think we can forward this process with faith, confidence, and courage and commitment on both sides. And the process is not ending right now. We are still ongoing, and I think we are on a good way. Thank you very much for your attention.
Great, thank you. It was very impressive talks from both of you. So we have some questions. First question is, how can one reach out to mentors or mentoring if one's own department isn't much supportive of diversity issues? You can join the EANS Diversity Commission. Or, yeah, I don't know where you're from. There's another committee in Germany from the German Neurosurgical Society, which is also quite active. So this is something that you can join. Do you have any other suggestions, Noreen or Thomas?
Yeah, I understood this question very specific for their own department. Yeah, I think not everyone working in a department, and especially the leading positions, are not often aware about the problem of diversity, or the challenge of diversity. And I think one approach is to strengthen the awareness that there's a problem with diversity, there's a challenge of inclusion, and be open-minded, go straight to the person you think you have a better relationship to it, and go to the leading position, and yeah, raise awareness for this.
I think this is the point that I'm recognizing over the past 20 years, that it is changing. Now we have our European Association of Neurosurgery, which is bringing up this diversity committee, this webinars, the meetings in the during the annual meeting, and the same is going on our German Neurosurgical Society. I think it's the first time now in 2 weeks that we have such a session in Germany. So the trend is really good, but it's very slow. So I think we have to stay tuned, and of course the awareness is the problem. And so if we stay tuned, and if we start making this problem visible, then we can make a difference.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really important. What both of you said is to raise awareness. It's really about awareness. It's not people are not like, they don't, I mean, especially men, they don't really not always have like negative feelings towards diverse people or women. They're just not aware that there's things like racism or microaggression or sexual harassment, that they exist, because they don't really notice these things. I just talked to my vice chair, who is a little bit older than me, and he was really surprised about the problems that diverse people are facing. So it's really important to raise awareness. And so these kind of webinars and going out and talk about it is really, really important. So the next question is from Muhammad Ali. I thought he was dead, but he's still alive, I guess. It's to Thomas. Thanks for your precious words. For you, what was more challenging through your career and more negatively affected you? Is that you are a person of color or in a wheelchair?
Yeah. To be honest, all my life I had not a lot of offensive moments due to my color. I think the most challenging fact in my career, because if you say career connected to my medical career, to my professional career, is that that I had to break down the barriers in the mind of people, because they never saw a surgeon in a wheelchair before. Even the idea, even the vision that you can do surgery in a wheelchair, that you can get up in an upright position and do surgery, spine surgery, for example, for 4 hours in a wheelchair, that was not in their mind. And this was my greatest challenge, to bring the idea of a wheelchair surgeon in the heads of so many people. this was challenging, and it's or this is still a challenging fact in my life, that you are able to bring your vision, your inner vision, into the mind, into the head of other people. This is still challenging, but I think that this is not a challenge only for me as a surgeon in a wheelchair or black. This is always challenging. If you have a good idea, it's always challenging to bring this good idea into the head and the mind of other people. You have to find good tools, and you have to find a good communication for this.
So, Thomas, did you have, I mean, you showed some role models, mostly from Germany. So were you connected to these people that you showed there? Or did you have someone you could talk about your problems? I mean, there's not a lot of surgeons in wheelchairs. I think you are the only one that I know by person. So, I mean, you were facing even, yeah, larger barriers than me and Narayan, for example. So that would be really interesting for me. And also, who the wheelchair that you showed in the OR, did the hospital buy it for you? Or I mean, this must be a very expensive wheelchair. So this is something that's interesting.
Yeah, first question. Yes, I have some connections. I'm not connected to all of the persons I showed you, but the most I'm connected, and I'm talking with them, and we are in exchange. And but those person I showed you the neurosurgeons. I was very thankful to that. In most of the cases, I talked to them. In most of the cases, I talked to them. And for example, my former director, Hans-Peter Richter, he's now 83 years old, and he was a father figure for me. He was a father figure. And in his role of father figure, he gave me support. And this is very important. Now, what I'm trying to say is, yes, it's good if you have someone who has maybe the same challenges, the same situation, but it does not have to be a person with the same challenges. Sometimes it needs someone who you have a good relation to, something like a father or mother figure, something like that. And the cost of the wheelchair, you mean you're right. They are very expensive. I can also buy a car, but yeah, here in Germany, I bought my first wheelchair. I bought it when I was in my training phase, and there was a public office. There was the public office of work support. They paid for it because they said, okay, it's better that we pay you for a wheelchair. Otherwise, we have to pay you your salary. So they bought me the wheelchair.
Okay, nice. So, Noreen, did you have someone in your life supporting you with your career or like your personal life?
I think primary, I mean, like probably everyone, the head of the department is first of all, I think, the one you are directing to, and you want to learn from him. And as I told in my talk, I moved after 5 years. So Professor Veit-Rode was my first neurosurgical supervisor, somebody I learned a lot about neurosurgery and being a physician and how to handle with patients, and how to how do you say how to be independent, and and he really didn't make any difference between women and men, and that was really encouraging for me. And I was it only matters how you work, and that was something I really appreciated. And later on, that was something which was which I also experienced in my family. I have 3 brothers, and my parents never made a difference between me and my brothers. And usually in our culture, Pakistani, Arabic, and Oriental culture, it's always more important if you are a guy. So we don't want this, but everybody does it. And I never had this in my family. So I was really happy to have the same environment in my career. So then it really changed when I was pregnant, and that was really a shocking moment for me. And I had to learn how to handle this. And later on, with my last boss, Professor Ringel, it was a pleasure. It was really like, okay, very supportive, very like, okay, how do we handle this? Do you want to operate? Do you want to go to the OR? You are pregnant, but you can choose by yourself. And so that is something, somebody sees something in you. So I would say these 2 were my main role models, and they supported me a lot. And I'm very glad and happy to have them in my career. And I think this is really important. And this is something I want to give back to my newer generation, and to show that everybody who has something in himself, in herself, is able to make this career.
Yes, I think what both of you said, I think it's really important that it's really good to have a mentor, and it doesn't really matter where it comes from, or if he has the same or a different gender, as long as you have someone that you can connect to and who is supportive. So as you said, Thomas, it's not, for you was not important to have a mentor or someone who has the same disability as you do. And Noreen, you also had only male mentors. And yeah, I mean, I also only had male mentors. I tried to have a female mentor. She was like the first German university female chair. And so I wrote to her, and then we had a phone call, and I asked her to be my mentor. And she was like, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what this mentorship is supposed to be. I don't believe in this. So she really told me she didn't want to do it. So that was very disappointing. So in the end, I had to find someone else. And yeah, finally it was also, one of them was Weide too, until he moved to Göttingen. Yeah, so the most important thing is to have a mentor. So what, Thomas, so what would you say was your biggest challenge, or the biggest barrier that you had to overcome during your career?
The fight with me, myself, and I. Because I think the person who is doubting the most on my thoughts and my ideas was me, myself. So I think if what I'm trying to say is, if you are the one who stands behind you, if you have the motivation, if you have the courage, as I said in my last slide, if you have faith, hope, and confidence, then I think a lot of ideas can be realized, a lot of visions can become true. And you are the first one. I recognize that I have to be the first one who believes in myself. So you have to recognize that, and people are not believing in you if you're not believing in yourself. So this is something I had to learn, hardly learn. And after that, I think it was a bit easier for me to do all my challenges.
Okay, Noreen, what was your biggest challenge? What would you say?
I think I said it already. For me, the hardest time was when I was pregnant, and then after pregnancy, coming back and struggle and show that I'm the same person. I'm working full time like my other colleagues as well, and I'm not only a mother now. So this is something I really struggled with a couple of years. And
Okay.
I think I think I had to work double as hard or more than my colleagues to show that I'm still able to do neurosurgery.
And this negative attitude towards you, did it come only from your head of department or also from your colleagues?
I think it was the 2 or 3 people in the above me, head and the vice director, and yes. So I think it is a mood which you have in your department, and you don't have to, because it was totally different when I got the next child. It was totally different, and it doesn't matter that I'm pregnant. And I was like, okay, it is also possible to handle it like this. And so it was totally different, 180 degrees different. And therefore, I think it was, for me, it was the hardest time.
Okay, and so how do you manage your work life and your private life? As we know, I mean, there are many publications also from the EANS Diversity Commission on work-life balance, comparing men with women, and it came out that most men don't do any of the care work for their children. They don't really participate in child rearing, taking care of the children, taking them to school, preparing breakfast, cleaning the house. So how is it in your life, and how do you have any?
I have a very supportive husband, so I think it's not possible without a partner who cares also for the children. And he had a job where he can decide when to work. So this makes such a huge difference. So he's able to bring the children or get them from school, and but of course he works, and we have spent a lot of money for nannies, and I think that's it. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So either you have a family who's there to take care of the children, and then both partners can work. You have to be very, yeah. I'm missing the word. So you have to be creative, very creative, and I think it's we spend many years, half of our salary for childcare, and if you are not if you don't want to do it, then I think it's hardly possible.
Okay, so we have some more questions from the audience. One is from Stephanie Koch. How would you answer someone who says there's already enough DEY effort, there are already women on POC department chairs, etc., that more DI goes against merit-based promotion hiring? Who wants to answer?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
To my mind, merit goes, of course, it's not gender is, or the being a female is not above merit, to my mind. It shouldn't be. But the problem is that we don't get our female neurosurgeons to this level that they can apply for leadership. And this is what we have to change. And unfortunately, it takes a lot of time, to my mind. So they have to publish more. We have to support women during their pregnancy so they can do the surgeries. So there is no gap in neurosurgical procedures. They have a gap in awards. So many women don't get an award because they are not supported by their head of the department. These are kind of things which doesn't lead excellent women to that position that they can apply for different kind of leaderships. This is something we have to change. I don't think that merit should be less worth than the gender.
Yeah, and also just take a look at the facts. I mean, there are so many publications showing that there are not a lot of, I mean, like not enough women, and also not enough POC working in neurosurgical departments all over the world. Especially in the US, it's really bad. I mean, the percentage of women in neurosurgery and orthopedic surgery is, I think, less than 14%. There's only 6% chairs in Germany. I think in US it's even less, the percentage of chairs, of female chairs in in the US. And there's so many data on that, so you can really refute these statements from anyone who says something like that. It's totally untrue. And I just read something that it takes about 150 years in the US to reach gender parity right now. So the facts just are against all these statements. Okay, so I was asked to ask about coping strategies. So Thomas or Noreen, do you have any coping strategies or something that you do to relieve your stress or yeah?
Yes, I have. Saturday is my day. On Saturday, I try not to work. On Saturday, I'm just doing things I would like to do. And I love classic cars. I love my garden, and I love spending my free time with my wife. So Saturday is my free day, and all the other days, 6 days, I'm on call, I'm on duty, but Saturday, that's my day.
Okay, great. Noreen, how about you?
Yeah, it's very similar. So meanwhile, I have the weekends free. So that's another benefit of being head of a department. And the weekends are time with my children. So that's the most important thing for me at the moment.
Okay, great. Yeah, for me, it's
May I add something? This is something I mentioned earlier. You have to get to the stage that you realize that you also live with yourself. You have to do something for yourself. You are not able to do anything for other people. You have to do something for yourself. And this is, I think, this is for me, this is recharging.
yeah, I think it's really important that you take time for yourself. I mean, I didn't do it for like the last 20 years or like the first 20 years of my career. I mean, you all know how hard it can be to work at a university hospital, which is very, very competitive. So I didn't have any free time at all. So I was living at the hospital. I was just happy I wasn't forced to pay rent because I was more in the hospital than at home. So yeah, I really enjoy my free weekends, just like Noreen. And yeah, it's really important to take care of yourself and your health also before it's too late. We have one last question. How do you support the next generation of young surgeons so they don't face the same challenges as you had to go through?
Noreen, do you want to start or should I?
I mean, I said it in my talk. So there are different things we can handle with, and of course I'm a little bit alerted with these things I've experienced. So of course I don't want my residents and colleagues to experience same struggles. So I have some rules, and of course pregnancy is no problem, of course. And also I encourage my all my residents to be active in science, and we have a program started that everybody is able to take free time and to cover it with the rest of the program to make scientific work and different kind of these educational things. And everybody, we have mentorship in the hospital that every resident has a mentor and go to him or her in case of any issues. And there are different things I'm changing, and I encourage everybody to have a close connection to me or her or his mentor, just to bring up any kind of issue.
I absolutely agree. I would say the same. I'm ready to mentor in many ways, and the most important thing for me is that I encourage the young doctors to develop a vision for themselves. No one develops a vision for them. They have to develop the vision for themselves, the idea in their mind, and I'm only possible to support their ideas and to support their visions, and that's important.
Okay, so some famous last words from both of you, because we are already at the end of our fantastic webinar. From my side is I encourage everyone to just ask questions. You know, you have great leaders in front of you, and just ask them questions, how to plan a career, how to do things. We're there, and we're always happy to answer questions.
Yeah, absolutely agree, and I'm looking the same way. Communication is the key. Don't be offensive, but be specific.
Nothing to add.
Nothing
Great
to-
words. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So I thank everybody for participating in our first webinar. It was really great to have all these questions from you guys. Unfortunately, we couldn't answer all the questions, but as I said, you can always write me an email, or Thomas or Noreen. We are always happy to answer. Maybe it will take a while because we are all really busy, but this is really something coming from our hearts and something that we truly believe in. So feel free to ask anything. So thank you very much, and hopefully see you in Vienna to the EANS Congress, where we also have a diversity session.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.